The very first moment our eyes met, something inside me woke up. I was standing at the bottom of the porch steps, handing over the keys to the upstairs apartment, and when his fingers brushed mine, my breath caught. It was just a touch, no more than a second, but the way it sent warmth rushing through me made my heart stumble. I told myself it was nothing. But the truth was, I knew it was the beginning of a storm I wasn't ready for. Ethan was young, too young for me, really. He was 25, maybe 26, tall and lean, with a confidence that radiated from him like sunlight. He had that restless energy of someone still shaping their life, still chasing big dreams, still carrying hope in every smile. And I was a married woman. Mark, my husband, had been my steady anchor for 12 years. He worked hard, provided well, and never let me doubt his loyalty. But along the way, our passion had quieted. Our conversations revolved around bills, schedules, and the little tasks that keep a household running. We weren't unhappy, not exactly, but we weren't alive the way we once were either. Somewhere between love and routine, I had forgotten what it felt like to be desired. And then Ethan moved in. That first week, I found myself making excuses to be outside when he was. Trimming the roses, sweeping the porch, checking the mailbox twice a day. Silly things, just to cross paths with him. One morning, I was crouched in the garden when I felt his presence before I even heard him. "You treat those roses better than most people treat themselves," he said, leaning on the railing of his porch above. I looked up, shielding my eyes from the sun. "They reward me for it. Beauty always answers to care." He grinned, climbing down the steps. "Mind if I help?" I laughed, handing him the shears. "They bite if you're careless." Sure enough, within minutes, he nearly nicked his shirt and yelped when a thorn pricked his finger. I couldn't stop laughing, and soon he was laughing too, holding his hand out like a child asking to be kissed better. I swatted him playfully, but the light brush of his skin against mine left me tingling long after he went back upstairs. From then on, it seemed impossible to avoid him. He was there in small ways, carrying in a package, offering to help with the trash, holding the door when my hands were full. And always, there was something in his eyes. Not bold, not disrespectful, but curious. As though he was quietly daring me to notice him. And I did. God help me, I noticed everything. The way his hair fell over his forehead, the way he laughed too easily, the way he looked at me like I was more than just somebody's wife. It was one rainy evening that pushed me further than I ever expected to go. I had just come back from the grocery store, bags slipping from my arms, when Ethan appeared out of nowhere, dashing down the stairs. "Here, let me," he said, grabbing half the load before I could object. He carried them into the kitchen, setting them down on the counter. His shirt was damp from the rain, clinging to him in a way that made me avert my eyes. "You didn't have to," I said, my voice soft. "I wanted to," he replied simply. And when our eyes met, the air between us thickened. He smiled faintly, then excused himself, leaving me trembling with a mix of guilt and longing. That night in bed, I lay awake listening to the rain, Mark's steady breathing beside me, and all I could think about was Ethan's eyes on mine, the way his voice seemed to echo inside me. I hated myself for it. And yet, I couldn't stop. Weeks passed, and our conversations grew longer, easier. He told me about his ambitions, the places he wanted to travel, the things he still hoped to do. Listening to him was like stepping into a world I had long forgotten. His words lit up something inside me, reminding me of the girl I once was, restless, full of dreams. And when he looked at me, I felt like she was still alive. One night, Mark was away on a business trip, gone for 3 days. The house felt empty, every corner echoing with silence. A storm rolled in, fierce and loud, rattling the windows. I lit candles and curled up on the couch with a blanket, trying to calm the unease that always came with thunder. Then came the knock. I opened the door, and there he was, Ethan, rain dripping from his jacket, flashlight in hand. "Power's out upstairs," he said, his voice low. "Mind if I wait it out here?" I hesitated for only a second before stepping aside. He came in, shaking off the rain, and sat across from me on the couch. The storm roared outside, candles flickered between us, and the silence grew heavier with every passing minute. We talked at first. About the storm, about movies, about nothing. But then the conversation slowed, and in that pause, the air shifted. He looked at me, his gaze steady, unguarded. "I shouldn't say this," he began softly, "but you're incredible. You don't even know the way you light up a room." My chest tightened. "Ethan. I'm not trying to make things complicated," he said quickly, "but I can't keep pretending I don't feel this." Before I could respond, his hand brushed mine. Just that small touch, and every ounce of resolve inside me wavered. "You feel it too," he whispered. And I did. My silence was an answer. He leaned closer, giving me every chance to pull away. But I didn't. When his lips met mine, it was soft at first, testing, then deeper, filled with the kind of hunger I had almost forgotten existed. I kissed him back, my heart pounding, my body betraying everything my mind screamed. It was wrong, I knew it, but it felt like coming alive after years of sleep. When we finally pulled apart, I was shaking. "I can't," I whispered, tears pricking my eyes. "I'm married." He looked at me with such raw honesty it nearly broke me. "I know. And I don't want to hurt you. But I can't stop wanting you." The storm outside seemed to echo the storm inside me. I turned away, clutching the blanket like a shield. This can't happen again. And yet, the memory of that kiss haunted me every day after. We never spoke of it again. Outwardly, things returned to normal. Polite greetings, casual conversations, safe distance. But beneath it, a secret burned between us. Every glance held that night inside it, every pause carried the weight of what we hadn't done, what we almost did. Mark came home, and life went on. Dinner at the table, polite conversations, routine comfort. But I wasn't the same. Something inside me had shifted forever. Because Ethan had reminded me of something I had buried for years. That part of me that longed for fire, for passion, for a love that consumed rather than simply sustained. He had shown me I was still capable of feeling alive. And though I chose my marriage, though I kept my secret locked away, I knew a part of me would always ache for what might have been. Sometimes, late at night when the world is quiet, I let myself remember. The flicker of candlelight, the sound of rain, the taste of a kiss that could never be repeated. I remind myself of the line I didn't cross, but also of how close I came. Temptation doesn't vanish. It lingers, quiet and sharp, like an ember waiting for breath. And though I walked away, though I chose duty over desire, I know a part of me will always wonder, what if I had let myself fall? And maybe that's the cruelest part of temptation, not the act itself, but the question it leaves behind. I am married. I am loyal. But I am tempted. And that secret will always be mine to carry.